Cool.
All right. Welcome to the Quarantine Check, and my guest today is one of my favorite Detroit comedians, the one and only Dan Turco. Dan, how are you surviving quarantine?
That same as everybody else, kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think only the sickest fucks in the world are thriving right now. Like, if you're doing well, you're a fucking sociopath, and I never want to talk to you. Like,
no, this has been the most emotional, draining time of my life. We live in an era where Pornhub Premium is free, and I'm too depressed to watch it.
thank God this happened in 2020 when we have Netflix and Hulu and Sling TV and CBS All Access and all of those streaming services. Because if this had happened in 1999, then I'd have to read a fucking book.
Or,
like,
yeah, we'd be reading books.
Yeah.
And bored out of our mind.
We would be subscribing to as many magazines as we could.
We would we would actually have to have conversation with relatives.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dark times. So what else have you been up to? I saw on Facebook you bought a house.
Yeah, I thankfully had gotten far enough into the home buying process before the quarantine started that we were able to complete the home buying process after the quarantine started, and have been able to get most of the supplies we need to move in. We got paint. We were able to buy paint. We were able to buy appliances, not furniture, but appliances. We were able to get a lot of stuff. As they change the stay-at-home order, hopefully we'll be able to get some carpeting in there and some furniture.
Well, that's good. So I take it you are obeying the stay-at-home edict that our governor has signed into law.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I mean, I'm working from home. They've got a big old computer set up for me. So, yeah, I mean, unless I'm going to the grocery store, the hardware store, or the house, I don't, or maybe to the park occasionally. I mean, I'm following the rules.
Me too. I've been going for walks every day, and it was weird today. I was walking up on 8 Mile between Farmington and Merriman, and someone spray painted on the sidewalk the word cockfight. I'm like thinking of anything you could spray there.
That is an excellent tag.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see where that guy's got a future.
I want to know what he means by a cockfight. I am hoping it's two roosters or two guys with their dicks out reenacting the epic fight scene from Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah. They make glow-in-the-dark condoms if you wanted to do that.
Then I would definitely reenact the scene from Star Wars.
Or so I've been told.
No, I think I've seen them in movies.
But yeah, it's this all this all sucks. I don't know if there's a way to bring nuance to that hasn't been brought already. It's weird. I read a lot of articles on the internet about how we consume pop culture, because I think a lot about how we consume pop culture, because I spend my time wisely. And one of the things that you see brought up is the death of monoculture.
Okay.
The way that 100 million people watched the MASH finale or the Cheers finale or the Friends finale, because culture and media is so split now, and because we have so many different places to get that from, where it's not just ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, and then another 30 channels on cable. We have all of these different streaming services. We have all of these different networks. That sort of monolithic, shared experience in terms of pop culture doesn't really exist anymore. And now all of the sudden it does, because none of us can experience anything else. We have to stream as many shows as we can. We have to watch whatever's on Netflix or Hulu or cable or whatever.
I, I will admit this. I have not watched Tiger King.
You are one of a small handful of people. Tiger King, I think, is kind of like Bernie Sanders and, to a lesser extent, Jesus Christ, in the sense that it's something that I really enjoy watching, but the people that like it are really annoying about it sometimes, and I'm kind of over it. I love Tiger King. I thought it was great. I'm over the jokes about it. I'm over the memes. I'm over all of it. It's just, I'm done.
What I am sick of, all the people who are now thinking they are detectives and saying that Carol Baskin did it, and I have no idea who Carol Baskin is.
It is the one of the subjects of the Tiger King documentary's husband disappeared under mysterious circumstances a few years ago, and now everyone thinks, and I think the documentarians perhaps irresponsibly left the door open to the idea that she killed her husband, which may or may not be true, but it's really irresponsible to do that. So now it's kind of gross. It's a little gross. There's a lot of gross things in that documentary, though. It's a pretty high bar.
Yeah, I don't think I need to watch a show about Oklahomans, whatever they are. People who live in Oklahoma who collect exotic animals, record country songs, and maybe murder.
It is a very, I think it's a good documentary series, even if they made some editorial choices that I perhaps disagree with. But I mean, if you want to see a better one, watch McMillions on Hulu. That's about how the Monopoly game was rigged the Monopoly game was rigged in the 90s for McDonald's.
I did watch that, and I thought it was fantastic until I got to the end, and I thought it was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, it is an anticlimactic, because they all admit it. Like, everybody in the thing pleads pretty much, so you don't have that big fight. But it was good. It'll be a fun movie.
Oh yeah,
it'd be a great Coen Brothers movie, but they didn't buy the rights. I think Matt Damon bought the rights to it.
I wonder who would play that obnoxious FBI agent.
Probably Matt Damon.
Yeah, he would be too old for it. The guy was in his 20s when all that was going down.
Yeah, guys do that all the time.
Maybe, I don't know. I can't wait for the movie of it.
I hate doing dream casting scenarios, because the people that do that rarely think about, like, reality.
True.
Like think about the Marvel movie. Like, you see it, because I'm a big comic book fan, and you see it with, like, the Marvel movies, how you'll always see, like, comicbook.com and all of these other bullshit nerd aggregators be like, wouldn't it be great if John Krasinski played Mr. Fantastic? It's like, 1, he's probably too old. 2, he's definitely too expensive. 3, he probably would suck, because we're not casting directors, we're fans.
True.
Like if you think about the Avengers, you have Robert Downey Jr., who's on his last shot. You have, let's see, you have a New Zealand soap opera star in the Hemsworth.
Oh, I didn't know he was a soap opera star.
Yeah, that's what he was before he was an Avenger. That was his thing. Is he was an Australian or New Zealandish soap opera star.
Huh.
So he's cheap. Benedict Cumberbatch was a well-respected character actor, not a star.
He was a star with Sherlock, he became a star.
Okay, Tumblr.
Thank you.
Okay, Tumblr. Scarlett Johansson was a well-regarded character actress. What's his name? The guy who played Hawkeye. They just found him on the street. I mean, he's just a dude.
No, Jeremy Renner was in the cult classic National Lampoon's School Vacation movie.
Jeremy Renner is, if there's anyone on earth who found a monkey's paw, it's him.
I will agree with you on that. I mean, he was the star of Dahmer, a direct-to-video exploitation film.
Yeah, he got lucky. Chadwick Boseman is a well-regarded character actor. Chris Pratt was a sitcom guy.
Yes. Before that, he was on the teen soap opera One Tree Hill and the OC.
Yep. No, he was on Everwood.
Everwood, yes.
Yeah, he was on Everwood. He was a sitcom guy. He was a funny sitcom guy. Who else? Yeah, they're all just people off the street. They can't because they're cheaper that way. You don't get you don't sign established stars to be these. The established stars are the bad guys that only have to do this shit for one movie.
True.
You know, or they're you're Stanley Tucci in Captain America. You're Cate Blanchett in Thor Ragnarok. You're Robert Redford in Captain America 2. You show up for a movie, you get to goof off as much as you can, and then you cash a check, and your kids and your grandkids think you're cool.
That's true. I got to be honest. I am not a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, I think it's great. You're Andy Serkis, and you are in 2 movies, kind of. You wear a silly costume, and you just you have fun with it.
Interesting.
That's when those movies are good. Is when you're what is his name? Jake Gyllenhaal in Spider-Man Far From Home. You get to wear a silly costume, and you get to goof off for a couple hours, and that must be fun for a big movie star to do occasionally.
And take a huge paycheck home. Yeah,
you get paid, and you get to not be so serious, which I think a lot of these guys would enjoy. Paul Giamatti does a good job of that as like the one decent thing in Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 as Rhino.
I thought that was some horrible casting, but he made it work.
I thought it was because it's Paul Giamatti having fun. You can see that he's like, I'm going to make some choices, and they're all great.
I wish Jamie Foxx made a choice not to be in that movie.
I wish those movies weren't made. I think they're the worst of the Spider-Mans.
I thought the first Andrew Garfield one was okay.
All bad.
It's better than Spider-Man 3.
I might disagree with you about that.
So we will discuss this at another time.
We will fight in the back of a mic while some new person is eating shit over the merits of Spider-Man 3.
All right, that's a deal. That'll be more entertaining than someone eating shit in an open mic.
I'm excited because I'm hoping a lot of people quit during this time off, and it will make it easier for me to perform.
Well, that's something that we've discussed on past episodes, that there might be a lot of comics leaving because interest is lost, that, their life has changed dramatically.
I think so much of it is, and this is not just true of comedy, but I think it's true of every aspect of life. So much of life is inertia. And so much of life is dependent on doing the same thing today that you did yesterday. And I think that this disruption is going to break the inertia of a lot of people, regardless of what they do. I know somebody who was a swimmer in high school who had some injury. She hurt her leg, I think. And when she was off, she realized that she did not like swimming anymore. And that was that. And she just never went back to it. Because once she was finally away from it, she was able to kind of look at it and be like, oh, yeah, it's not really my thing.
Right. And with comedy, it's so hard because, at least for me, open mics are painful, especially when you're trying new jokes. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot harder for us to get booked on shows because, first of all, once this comes back, everybody is going to want to be on every show as soon as it happens, as soon as the doors open back up.
Yeah, get ready for some Death March 3-hour long mics. Like it's all gonna be like that now, and we're just
Well,
gonna.
actually, I don't think it will be because I think once bars are able to open back up, we are going to be limited to how many people are going to be in there. So I think every open mic is going to be like Tom Swan's, where you have to sign up and it's 8 to 10 people.
I like that component of his sign up. I do like that because it's good to be able to schedule yourself out a few weeks like that. It's nice. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what it's going to be like when it's back. Whether in terms of audiences, I think that everyone is so cooped up and so desperate for entertainment, live entertainment, that in-person entertainment, that I maybe this is wishful thinking. I think some of the crowds that first few weeks back that we get are going to be great crowds.
I agree with you on that 100%.
I think we're going to get some excellent crowds. I really hope that our partners at these shows that we run, these venues, are able to weather this storm. You know, I think about that a lot, whether it's not just the clubs, but I mean, like, you know, I run my show at Supernatural Brewing in Livonia, plug. They're a local business. They're a small business, you know, and the small businesses are the ones that are going to get hit the most by this.
No, I agree. I think about Green Brain. I think about
we don't do these shows at fucking Applebee's.
No.
You know?
Well, we might have to start doing them at Applebee's.
TGI Fridays doesn't want this shit.
Are they still in business?
TGI Fridays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Who knew?
I call them Cry Days.
I haven't been to one in a decade.
I prefer, if I'm going to eat that genre of food, I'm going to the Bees.
Applebee's, their rodeo burger is.
I call them Crapplebees, but it's only part of endearment.
Yeah, they are. You know, I haven't been to one of those like in a decade either, but
when I was in college, I had a bunch of friends that were waitresses at a local Applebee's, so I would go there frequently because they could hook me up.
When I was in grad school, the one in Minneapolis, by where I lived, they had every happy hour. They had two for one beer, 2 for 1 appetizers, and it was one of the cheapest places to go get drunk.
There was a place in downtown Ypsi that had $2 everything for happy hour from 4 to 7.
Wow.
I mean, small portions. The appetizers were small portions, but it'd be like a $2 shrimp cocktail. It'd be like 4 or 5 pieces of like kind of big shrimp, you know, and you get a $2 bottle of Heineken, you know, or something like, or a Strongbow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so for $10, you can get yourself a nice little buzz going.
There was a bar when I went to college that had every Wednesday was 10-cent draft night.
Nice.
And I never went because I always had early morning class on Thursday, but one day I decided to skip my class to go with my roommates. I got so hammered, I fell off the deck and passed out by the river.
We had our great college dive in Ypsi was Theo's. And you could get like 50-cent pitchers of beer one night a week, but it was really watered down high life. So people would just walk around drinking out of the pitcher like it was a mug, and you would not get drunk. Like it was so watered down. And then after I graduated, I went to a regular bar and got a pitcher of beer, and they're like, "Who else is with you?" And I'm like, "Oh no, this is just for me." And they're like, "Legally, we can't let you do that." I'm like, "Oh, I'm an adult now."
That's crazy that I didn't know you weren't allowed to drink a pitcher of beer by yourself.
But you can't in Massachusetts.
Okay.
In Massachusetts, if you order a pitcher of beer to your table, there has to be at least 2 people at your table.
Yeah. Look at East Coasters.
It's got it's Puritans. It's those Puritans in Massachusetts, man.
Fucking Pilgrims and Puritans, yeah. So let's talk about comedy. What made you want to start doing it?
I was bored. No, I tried doing a lot of creative things growing up, and I was bad at all of them. I cannot sing. I am tone deaf. I am not a musician. I was never able to become a good writer. Like I'm a decent writer, but not like in the creative sense. Like I'm a stylish writer. like when I'm writing things, but I'm not a very good. Like I can't write short stories. I've tried writing scripts. I can't do it. I tried acting, in high school, and I tried out for some stuff in college, and I'm not good at that, which is okay. I'm not good at a lot of things. And then one day I was just like, well, what if I did stand up? And then I did stand up, and I was like, oh, I like this. I might not be. I don't know if I'm good at it yet. It's been 5.5 years.
Where was your first open mic?
Joey's in Livonia. Joey's Comedy Club. R.I.P. It's gone.
It's weird. Every time I go to Supernatural, I drive by it.
Half-mile down the road.
It's just staring me in the eye. 'Cause I wasn't in Michigan when that place was, where I was started open mics.
It was good. It was a good mic. At least the one I started on, the very first open mic I did there. Brad Wenzel was on it. I think Mike Stanley was on it.
Oh, wow.
Zach Stein was on it. There's a Michigan guy who's out in Los Angeles now. It's great. Lynn Yavchek was on it. Who's a Vegas comic who's done some stuff in Michigan. Chris Burlew was on it, who used to be pretty active in the scene as a booker. Bruce Pike was on it, who's another local guy in Michigan who's great. Joey Dadarian was on it, who's a guy who quit a while back, but he was pretty good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it had some heavy hitters on Wednesday night in Livonia in August.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish we had more clubs here. And we have four?
We have, well, you've got Joey's, Ann Arbor, Stan's, Indy, the one in Southfield.
Is Punchline still around?
I don't know.
Yeah. I haven't been there since 2018.
We had Haddon's in Windsor, but that closed.
Yeah. I heard that place kind of was on its last legs, like disgusting. There were flies in there and it was flooded.
I wouldn't know. I think that I think it'd be nicer if we had more clubs, not just in Michigan, in society. I think that on the plus side, Michigan is a bomb-ass brewery state, and there's something about breweries that love stand-up.
No, it's true. Like you and Alex Bradley were going to launch the Arbor Brewing Company in Plymouth.
Yeah, Alex has connections over with Arbor Brewing and runs some shows at both their Ypsilanti and Arbor locations. We were trying to get something going in Plymouth until this all happened. Obviously, I run Supernatural Brewing in Livonia.
Plug.
They're great. You used to have a mic at Atwater in Detroit. Liberty Street with Justin Skierka in Plymouth is great. Is a great show. You've got the Distillery, Rusted Crow in Dearborn Heights. You've got Canton Brewworks used to have a show. I mean, I've done a lot of breweries. I don't like breweries.
I mean, comedy is, cheap entertainment to bring in.
I think a lot of, at least with Supernatural, what I think makes it work is that they do a lot of events. They do can releases or beer releases. They do kind of supper club type stuff. So when you have this churning entertainment program that they run, I can kind of slip in there and be like, oh, I'm just going to kind of ride this wave with comedy and kind of fit into this routine you guys have of always doing events.
And well, when I ran the show for you the night you were hosting at One Night Stands, the owner was really supportive of it.
I think it goes. I hope. Let me back this up. I hope, and this should be true of any showrunner. There are two ways that you can look at comedy, and I think the best venues do it both ways. One hand, this is a business decision. You are giving us X amount of dollars with the expectation that we will make you money back in the case either in ticket sales if you're a ticketed event, or in food and drink sales if you're not. And that is true of open mics, that is true of showcases, that is true of real shows, ticketed, real shows. Is you have to hope that financially it works for the venue.
Right.
But you also have to hope that there's that sort of psychic ownership of, I like having events in my bar, even if we don't necessarily make money. I just like having comedy there. I like having music there. I like having events. And if you can find an owner or a venue who likes having events, that's going to go a long way for you too.
No,
And I know that, and I know that those guys, I hope those guys like having events. And I hope that we make them money, and that we are a good investment for them. But I also hope that they just like having us around.
no, you've had that show for a little bit over a year now,
Yeah.
and I think it's a great show.
It's a credit to, Joey's didn't close because people didn't like going to comedy shows in Western Wayne County. Joey's closed because the guys who ran it were idiots. It's a credit to the audiences that we pull in, that there's a market for it, and that it's an open-minded market, that people can be weird, people can be dark, people can be a little edgy, and the audiences appreciate it. People seem to like what we've put out there, the quality of the product.
No, it's a great show, and you book really good shows. I'm not saying that because I've been on times.
It's not hard. There's a lot of good comics in Metro Detroit, and even going further out in places like Windsor and Toledo and Lansing and Grand Rapids. It is a lot of good comics out here. It's not hard.
We have an amazing scene here, and I think it's every time I go and I see a new comic who just rocks, I think it gets stronger.
I think for me, the strength of the scene in general comes from the diversity of venue. So we always talk about in Metro Detroit comedy, if you want to be a comic in Detroit, you got to be ready to drive, right?
Yes.
You got to be ready to just fuck your lease. You're going over. But because of that, you're going to a lot of different communities to tell jokes. So you're doing college rooms in Ann Arbor.
Yep.
You're doing suburban rooms in Livonia and in Plymouth. Well-to-do suburban rooms in Plymouth. You're doing
working class rooms on the east side.
Working class rooms. You're doing shows in Taylor, which for the uninitiated goes by Taylor Tucky in some parts. You're doing what I believe marketers describe as urban rooms. You're doing rooms with different racial makeups, different socioeconomic makeups. And if you want to be a good comedian, you learn to be funny in all of those rooms.
It's true. And
that's not to say that I am. But I think that the people that really break through are the people that, it's so lame to call it crossover appeal. But I think that the people that do it right strive to be funny to as many people as they can be.
No, I agree. And I think for me, one thing is hard. Like, there is one area that I am not successful in, and that is the East Side. Every show I've had there, I have bombed. And mostly that is in a 4-mile radius of Mount Clemens.
Mount Clemens is a weird town. Macomb County is a weird town. It's a weird county. There's not a lot of comedy in Macomb County.
Josh Weiling has Polsky's.
Yeah.
In that room, I keep on going back like I'm a glutton for punishment, but
yeah, it's weird to me to think about how you have Wayne County outside of Detroit. You've got a decent amount of mics. Washtenaw County, you've got mics. Oakland County is lousy with them. You got tons of mics. And Macomb County, it just doesn't. I mean, there's that room in East Point. I don't even know if that's still there. Adam Walsh's room. Do you count Grosse Pointe? I don't. I think that's still technically Wayne County.
Yeah, it's in Cabbage Patch
Yeah,
is awesome because it has such a vast array of comics that go in there week
yeah,
after.
it's a good location,
Like,
and it's a neat bar. But yeah, I mean, it's weird to me that somebody hasn't come in and been like, I'm gonna own Macomb County. There hasn't been somebody who's gonna be like, I'm gonna run 2 shows in Sterling Heights. I'm gonna run a show in Utica. I'm gonna run a show in Free, Roseville. And I'm just gonna corner this market the way that Heather Coos is kind of beginning to do up in Bay City.
yeah. Well, I mean, Bay City is different because, as far as I know, no one has been doing comedy up there except for her.
Yeah, there's not a lot to do. There's shit. Yeah, that's the big difference too. Is there's shit to do in Bay City. There's more to do in Macomb County. I'm always, not that I'm going to be the one to step up and do it. I'm not doing that, but it seems like that's a weird hole in the market. There's a lot of people and a lot of bars and a lot of places that you could do shows in theory. Um, there was a pop-up show in Utica like 4 years ago. Uh, yeah, there's just not a lot. There's not a lot in Macomb. I did a pop-up in Rochester. No, not Rochester. I don't know. Yeah, there's not a consistent. There aren't any consistent mics out there. You
There
see
was
pop-ups here and there, and
Yeah, Tom Swan ran one, and then Adam Walsh kind of ran one for a while, and both disappeared.
yeah, neither of them took. I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's first of all, it's the venue, and we've been to venues that didn't want comedy. I'm gonna state the Blue Moose in Farmington.
I think, yeah, it's you need a venue, you need an owner or manager at the venue who's going to be on board and is going to support you, and you need time to find your audience.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part of running a show is getting an audience in there. And I will say, using the ticket. Now I can't remember the ticket service was called.
Is
Um,
that right?
Eventbrite for my shows has been wonderful. And that's where we've been getting our audience from.
I think for me, most normal people, normies, uh, when they hear comedy, they think of Jim Gaffigan at the State Theater.
Or
They think,
someone release.
yeah, they think of Mike Birbiglia at the Fox. They think of Steve Martin at the casino in Windsor at Caesars. Um, Maybe they think of watching a special, right? I just watched Chappelle's special on Netflix. That's what they think. They think maybe they think a special on Comedy Central or HBO
Right.
or if Showtime. I mean that's what you think of when a normal person thinks of stand up. Go a step further, maybe they think of like the clubs, like the Showcase or Ridley's, but they don't think of a person. Maybe they think of the last 5 minutes of Conan, you know, or a late night show. But most of the time, when people think of comedy, they think of the big names, and I think the hardest part for us as a scene, and I don't think this is just true to Michigan, I think this is true everywhere, is convincing people that they can go see comedy in their town. That you can go a mile down the road to some brewery or some comedy club or some improv theater or some place, comic book shop, and see some good comedy and see some really good material come out of some people that are working really hard. And maybe not all of it's going to hit, but you're going to see some good stuff. And I think you're not going to know who's at Supernatural this week. If you're a local person, if you're just a person off the street, but you're going to think, I went to that a couple months ago and I had a good time. We should go again.
No, exactly.
And that's true of the clubs. I mean, I'm in comedy, and when I see the people that are at Ridley's in the Showcase, I don't know who those guys are a lot of the times. and I live in the world of comedy, and I don't know who those guys are.
No,
Maybe that speaks to me.
Well, no, I think you're right. But I think we know the people that we like are the people we see on Comedy Central or HBO or listen to on Sirius XM. But 90% of people go to Ridley's. I've never heard of them before.
Yeah, I mean, people go because, oh, you know what? I went for my friend's birthday 6 months ago, and I had a fun time. Let's go. Or, yeah, we did a holiday party here, and it was a blast. We should go again. Like, you build that routine, and you want to build that kind of reputation with the audience of, you had a good time here last time, maybe you'll have a good time here tonight.
No, exactly. And the better the shows are, the audience starts repeating itself. Like at Green Brain, actually, there were people who started with us over at Pieces and Pages and came over to Green Brain. They had no idea we were running the same. It was us running it, but
yeah, we have regulars at Supernatural too, like that come back.
And that's the best feeling because you're doing something right. And again, we don't have really names on our show. We both had Ron Taylor when he was in town. And that might have been the biggest name that I have watched. Of course.
The biggest name for me is probably it's Ron Taylor or Sam Rager.
Yes, Sam was supposed to be on this past month's show, but obviously that never happened. Now I'm sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I'm lucky because I'm able to, it's a Thursday night show, so I'm able to pick people off on their way to the Indy sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, it was Sean Brennan and Celeste Torrance.
Yep. I've been able to kind of to snag people as they cut through town a couple times, and that's always good. It's always helpful.
We kind Jaime Polina, Mandy Stark, and Tiffany Perkins and I were about to start a new room, and we were going to kind of do that business model to see who was coming through at the Indy to try to get them a night earlier.
Don't you dare! Where's the room?
It was supposed to be at Embrew in Ferndale.
Okay.
So I
don't steal my fucking idea.
No. But it was a good idea. It was a good idea, but I don't think we were running the same weeks as you.
Yeah, that's good. You better fucking not.
No, we wouldn't do that because we're all one comedy family, and the last thing I want to do is to be in a civil war with you.
We're all very supportive, so help me God. You better fucking. No, it's good, and to their credit, hopefully they don't change their mind. But the guys at the Indy don't mind me picking their guys off on their way in.
No, because it doesn't interfere with one of their nights.
Yeah.
And to give more people work, that is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get it's that balancing act of you want to get as many people. For me, I want to get new voices, and I want to get people that you haven't seen before. So if I can get someone who's coming in from out of town, no one in Livonia has seen you.
Right.
You're from another state.
And that's another thing is your show, and I think my show. We wouldn't be picking off the audience at the Indy.
Yeah, I don't know how much in general people, in Metro Detroit, we drive everywhere, right? But I don't know how many people are driving, a couple counties over for events that aren't sporting events, right?
Right. No.
Who's going downtown to downtown Detroit or whatever, unless you're going to a sporting event or a big entertainment event. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been a good setup. I can't wait to get back in there. Obviously, they've been fabulous hosts. I can't say enough good things. I don't have to work very hard.
No, it's a great room. It's a great room. When do you think we'll be going back?
June.
Okay.
Probably June. Maybe Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, so we have a pool going on as of right now. Christina Vidaljeski says September. I say July. You say June. I
think that as a society and this is a very cynical thought. I think as a society, we will get used to, and I think this has already happened. I think as a society, the curve that we're flattening isn't so much people getting hurt or dying, it's how much we care about people dying. It was really big news when 2 people died from Michigan of coronavirus on the same day. I have no idea how many people died in Michigan from coronavirus yesterday. I have none, no idea.
Too many.
Yeah, too many, absolutely. But I think that as a society, you get numb to it. And our attention span is too short for us to care that people are going to get sick and maybe die.
Well, it's something you really don't want to think about. Like, coronavirus to me wasn't personal until Tom got it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it exists in the abstract.
like,
and maybe I'd feel differently if I had it, or somebody I was related to or very, very close to had it. I was very worried about Tom, and I'm very happy that he's doing well.
Yeah, actually, I was trying to get him on this, but he said he's back to work, working 55 hours a week.
Fucking Tom.
I think to myself,
he's banking.
If I had the coronavirus, I would be milking it for a little while.
I would be milking it for a long while. Yeah, I think that we'll get so sick of not going out that we'll make a decision. We as a society, and that's not just true of America, I think this is true of the world. We will be so sick of being cooped up that we will make a decision that is not in our best interest because we just have to get out of our fucking houses.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's how I can see it reopening in Memorial Day.
I think it'll be in shifts.
Oh yeah.
I think restaurants will be restaurants and bars will be the last thing that open.
Stadiums.
Well, stadiums will be gone
for arts and entertainment.
It's gonna suck. Movie theaters will not exist properly in a year.
It will blow my mind if Cedar Point opens this summer. Blow my mind.
Yeah.
There's rumors that Disney has already admitted to themselves that they're not coming back until 2021.
That makes sense. I mean, those places are petri dishes for her.
Well, it's not just that. It's that you have people that travel. So if you consider where we are more vulnerable, and this has been true for a long time. I'm sure I read it in a Cracked article in 2012. We are more vulnerable for pandemics now than ever before because it is easier to travel now than ever before.
Right.
Getting from one chunk of earth to another is less expensive and quicker than at any point in human history to this point. So if somebody is sick, it is easier to spread that disease because it's so easy to move. So if you have a place that people specifically move to, those are the places that are at the highest risk. So a place like Disney World that gets people from all over the world all the fucking time is going to be closed. A place like sporting events, you're going to have to do without fans because people travel to those. The arts and the entertainment, that's the stuff that's going to struggle. I don't think bars and restaurants, especially local bars and restaurants, I don't think they have that problem. I think local bars and restaurants will be up by the summer.
I hope so, because I would kill to sit down at a restaurant.
Oh my God, who would? I'd spend hundreds of dollars to buy a Stroh's in the back of a bar while I play with my phone waiting for a show to start.
Yeah, it's the little things that I miss. Here are some other things that I'm going to miss because of coronavirus. It's going to kill a lot of bro culture. The high five won't happen anymore.
No, I don't think so at all.
The fist bump, gone.
I disagree.
You think we'll be high fiving?
I think that, absolutely. When this is over, I want to go to 100 baseball games. I want to hang out in bars and baseball games and mosh pits and anything and everything.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the high five is gone. I think sharing a joint is gone.
if I seem to recall what happened after the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic, I believe the 20s were the 20s were what's the nickname for the 20s?
The Roaring Twenties.
The Roaring Twenties. Right. Yeah. AIDS didn't ruin casual sex. The Spanish flu didn't ruin parades and parties. I don't think this will ruin shit. I think we'll all just go back to normal. And maybe that's a bad thing about us as a species, but I think that's what will happen.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I miss high-fiving.
I don't. I already had a pretty big personal bubble, so that's the lack of human contact. Not a big deal for me.
What are you talking about? You're one of the most social people I know.
Yeah, but I don't like hugging.
I don't like hugging either. Though, I will let one person hug me once this is all said and done. I don't know who, but I will let them.
Yeah, everybody gets one.
One. You get to invade my personal space one time.
I bet you Louis Michael gives the best hugs in the scene.
He is a good listener, so yeah, I guess you are probably right on that.
I bet you he gives a good hug.
Yeah.
He
also probably gives a good roundhouse punch.
I don't want to know, but I know he hugs. I bet you he hugs.
I bet you're right. So let's go. Let's talk about some other things. What is your favorite show in Detroit beside your own?
Is it a cop-out if I say the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase?
No, not at all.
It's the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase.
I was going to say my favorite one is 51st Jokes.
Oh, yeah, 51st Jokes. Yeah, well, yeah, if we can do a show like that. Yeah, 51st Jokes. Yeah, 51st Jokes is great.
I thought this past year was really funny. There was a lot of great material.
I think it's always great. I'm always thankful for Shelley for putting me on. It's that one's fun, and you see this with the Rumble too now. It's fun to see that many comics in one place.
It is, and I was very upset that the Dirtiest Rumble was canceled. And I'm sure you're upset about the one at Eastern, because you were involved with that one, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to close that one.
I gotta tell you, I had the best joke for the Dirtiest Rumble.
I hadn't thought that far ahead. I was on that Rumble, hadn't written a joke yet. Now I never will.
Well, hopefully that one will come back at some point.
Yeah, the Rumble will come back. Everything will come back. It's just gonna.
Yeah.
And all our material's gonna suck for the first couple of weeks back.
Why do you say that?
Because all of us are living the same lives.
I think it's how you twist it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my first setback, I've already decided I'm not doing any quarantine jokes.
Probably smart because everyone will be doing quarantine jokes.
Gotta zig when the market zags.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be doing their regular sets because we haven't performed them in so long.
Yeah. I'm not going to remember where to put the mic stand. My timing's going to be all off. I will forget to tip the bartender.
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to perform. I do want to talk to you about one of your jokes because it's one of my favorites. It's your abortion Second Amendment joke. Where did you come up with that idea? What is the anatomy of that joke?
The thought occurred to me.
It's so smart. And I think we're at the Pizza and Hummus show where you did it, and you had some guy come up to you afterwards and tell you that it was a brilliant joke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and for the uninitiated, it's y'all think Republicans would be cooler with abortion if we did it with a gun, which is a little much. That joke doesn't always kill, but it does always stop a heartbeat.
Have you ever had any negative reaction to it?
Individually, I can tell when. Individually, tons. I think that is that joke is a tightrope because it's everything that an opener shouldn't be. It's political. with a very clear political slant. It's very obvious how I feel with that joke. So I risk alienating half of the audience. It is, on top of that, a gross joke that relies on body horror. So even if you agree with me politically, you may not like body horror in your material, which is fine. So I risk alienating a chunk of the audience with that too. But it's a good opener.
It's also really smart because, first of all, I was told abortion jokes are things you shouldn't do. But you actually it's a joke that makes you think about things. And that's what I love about it.
There's a joke. I've written a new version of it. There's I don't think that there's any topic that's off limits, but I think some topics are harder to stick the landing with than others.
I agree.
Whether that is abortion, whether that is depression and self-harm, whether that is sexual assault, the rape joke. I definitely think that you can make those things funny, but it's harder. And if you're going to do it, you have to hope that you're very good at comedy, or maybe that you just wrote one very good joke and that you're able to stick the landing. And I hope that my abortion joke does that. And I know that, Sam Rager has some bits about depression and self-harm, and they all land. I love Matt Hamilton's rape joke. I think it's very funny. I think I just think it does a good job playing with the conventions.
I have heard people groan during that when he's performed it.
It's groanable.
Yes, but it's also smart.
But I think it's funny. And maybe that's just me, and the people that groan are right to groan, and I'm right to. I just think it's a good bit.
I agree.
I think it's a good bit.
Jan, I like to wrap this up by reading a Misconnections ad from Craigslist.
Oh.
Now,
people are still doing that? It's the public.
People are doing it more than ever. This one I found was written, 2 weeks ago when I saw it. I'm gonna have Dan on the show because this one goes to one of his jokes. So this one is from Cleveland, Ohio, and it says scat fetish. Any girls out there into scat? I'm a 29-year-old clean and attractive single white guy who's looking for a girl to shit in my mouth and use me as their personal human toilet. Serious replies only! !
I wouldn't want a non-serious reply. Person. It's, good. Good for that. Good for that guy. I hope he finds it. If not, bro, just get a fucking FetLife account, dude. Don't use Craigslist.
My thought is, how could you say you're clean if you want so much shit in your mouth?
Yeah, poop is gross.
Yes.
And if you're offended by that, then you know what? I'm just going to lose you as an audience. I wondered with a friend of mine and I once discussed, the poop dollar?
No.
So in there's a prank in Workaholics.
Okay.
Where they do a poop dollar, which is when you take $1 bill and you put some poop in it and you leave it on the street and then people pick it up and yell poop dollar. But that implies, how big of a piece of currency would you deal with poop on for, right?
Ugh.
There's $100 bill, but there's a little bit of poop on it. I'll find a way.
No, man, I saw $100 bill with some poop on it, like a dog pooped on it. I couldn't take it. I'm like,
Then you have more money than I do because I would find a way to make that work.
Well, I don't have the money, but I also have a germ thing. So
I'm not passing up on it. I will find a way.
on that note, Dan, it's been great seeing you again. Hopefully, I will see you sooner than later.
I've missed you all so long.
It's weird. I thought you were going to be at that Bernie show that never happened.
I was at the. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. You were probably in a better place.
We'll talk about it later.
Right. Dan, it's been great. I hope we'll see you sooner than later. Tell Jamie I said hey. And
We'll do.
thank you so much. And I think tomorrow on the show is Jamie Schreiner from Chicago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. See you guys next time. Bye.